So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word, and this translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzahelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yirmiyahu the prophet. Then we find layers of understanding of the spring feast, the autumn feast, and also the returning of the cities of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries. As we read then Yirmiyahu the prophet, there are areas, for instance, of Yirmiyahu and then Daniel, and these are not only limited by the prophets themselves, but they are also involved with Daniel 11, for instance, where then the most important religions of the world, such as Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, are then placed in the same system. Many places when you hear regarding then Daniel, you don't hear of this point, because the dynamics generated after the most important countries, such as the nation of the East or the Kingdom of the East, China, Kingdom of the North, the Soviet Union, and Kingdom of the South, then Africa. After these are set aside as rulers and the understandings of the political, economic leadership of this time of the end, then you find linked with Daniel and Revelation, as you always can find many people who are studying the instructions and the prophets, they always have a link with Daniel and Revelation. This truly is a fact. And then the importance of making sure the link with these religions are then explained with Revelation. Revelation explains these areas, explains of Islam, explains of Christianity, and also Judaism, each of them in their places. And there is also the mentioning of the Eastern religions as far as then China. The main players of this section of Revelation as far as religions mostly involves then Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And there are not very many people who are then reading from this perspective, because each of these religions are set for exclusivism. They want to be exclusive on their own, and at times when we want the real understanding of heaven, of these mean, then we must find what the truly meaning of the Quran, and then the Bible, and then the Torah, they are then explaining as far as this global understanding, including these very important religions, because each of them, mostly for instance Islam, if you read the Quran, you find that the Quran does acknowledge the Torah and the Christians, and interestingly the other two religions, they don't recognize Islam. It is very important including these religions, because as we quest, as we go and we understand these factors, then we are more in tune of what's coming and the dynamics that Revelation is then posing. Now, Revelation shows us the spiritual side of Daniel 11. Many sections of these are then explained. Daniel 11 itself explains the dynamics of the countries or kingdoms of East, North, and South, and the directives of this time that we know as restoration of the holy cities. And then Revelation explains the dynamics of the spirit world related with then Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. There are some sections who are then positive and some sections who are negative. As far as the positive and negative, we can read these in Revelation and unfold the meaning of these dynamics and how they play with each other. Daniel 11 gives us then a couple of understandings very strong. The first is then Islam, found then in the early verses of the 11th chapter. And then you find the areas of Judaism then later on. However, Christianity then is found beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. So these are truly explained. However, understanding these truly is absolutely very tiring, because there are so many aspects playing at the same time. As far as reading from the Christian perspective, you find then in Revelation very important sections of these. Prior of including these religion, what are then the basis where then we combined these religions? You find then the writer of Revelation then involving himself with visions. You find then this author, then later on he was then given the order of leaving the holy city where he was at and going again to Asia Minor and proclaiming what he saw. Obviously, during the time, the Romans were then the prominent of the land, and then later on came Christianity, and then was obviously a line that goes back until Yohanan and beyond, and gets mixed then with Judaism. And prior of these also comes Islam. It comes from the first son of Ibrahim, or Ishmael. As far as Christianity then, we understand that the enforcer of the vision comes then from the place south of the rivers of Ethiopia. In order then for us to extract these from the instructions or from Revelation, it truly takes a lot of time, and each section is related with the specific dynamic of these religions, and takes a long time to get these sections separated, so then later on the reading of Revelation becomes much easier, because they are not interrelated. But takes a very serious study of each of these religions, and then separating them out, and then later on reading these via layers. That's the most important layers of understanding from the prophets and Revelation and then Daniel. This truly is a very big study. Later on I'm going to explain more regarding this topic, so please stay tuned. Much more coming up.